All right, welcome everybody to the second edition of Fishbone Friday here on YouTube. For those who don't follow the series on our blog, Fishbone Friday is a weekly deep dive into potential root causes of some of the biggest and most costly challenges in warehousing and order fulfillment today. Now, while we have been at this series for a little while now through our blog on LinkedIn, by popular demand, we're now releasing the series here on YouTube for the purpose of exploring the root causes in a bit more detail. So for those who are new to this, a fishbone diagram, also known as an Ishikawa cause and effect diagram, is a popular and proven method of root cause analysis, typically focusing on 6 categories within a business, or in this case, for most of our viewers, a distribution center. The 6 categories are people, equipment, process, environment, management, and last but certainly not least, tools. It's an important exercise for both executives and operators to be familiar with because it creates a discussion and transparency around all potential failures, either on the surface or when it comes to an underlying process that's deeply ingrained within the operation. Whether you're looking to proactively isolate potential causes of failure for an upcoming important project, or you're looking to find the root cause of an ongoing challenge in your day-to-day, a fishbone diagram is a great first step. Now, before we get into the topic of the week, if you don't follow us on LinkedIn, do make sure you head over to that page after the video and check it out. You'll find a link in the description. Fishbone Friday is just an example of the helpful and actionable content we're posting there each and every week. Also, we do host invite-only webinars exploring all things fulfillment optimization, so the best way to get in on those is to follow our page. Of course, we're now here on YouTube, so if you found this video to be helpful, be sure to give the video a like and subscribe to our page to receive notifications each and every time we post something new. If you missed last week's edition where we explored 17 potential root causes for a failed system implementation, you'll find that link to the video in the description below. With systems playing such a pivotal role in the modern distribution operation of today, it's more critical than ever to ensure that each and every implementation is as successful as possible. It may surprise you that some implementations are marked for failure even before the deal is signed, so definitely make sure to check that one out after this video. So let's get into our topic of the week, lack of storage capacity. This is an issue that I'm sure every distribution professional, executive, or operator can relate to, as it's one of the more common challenges in the average distribution operation. It's also something that is truly unavoidable for most growing operations. The real challenge is consistently monitoring capacity utilization so that a proactive stance can be taken before symptoms surface in the form of reduced labor efficiency, throughput bottlenecks, recurring product damage, or most importantly, heightened employee safety concerns. So without further ado, let's get into our first category. Starting with people. Too much inventory for slow moving items. Now, while you're not going to have the right level of inventory for all of your items, it's critical to continuously monitor inventory levels for your slower moving items, not just in the pick slot, but when it comes to reserve locations as well. If there is a disconnect between operations and procurement, a simple opportunity buy can easily cascade into other problems, the least of which is the discount itself being wiped out by the cost of storing the item and the loss of capacity, especially in an already tight operation. Next, buying patterns result in partial pallets. Now, again, unfortunately, this is another area that's not always under the operations control. This one can be mitigated, though, with proper slotting maintenance, so long as the partial pallets are consistent and can be planned for. In the absence, however, of a consistent slotting process aimed at directing incoming pallets to their most productive slot type, or if pallet size is sporadic, partial pallets are often put away in slot types that are far too big, resulting in poor utilization of cube capacity, and potentially increasing selection travel if the problem is widespread. Inadequate put-away training. This one also has a big influence on labor efficiency, both order selection and forklift, but as it pertains to capacity, as a standard practice, reserve pallets should be put away as close to the item's pick slot as possible. A pallet that is put away outside of the proper pick area can potentially cause the displacement of other reserve pallets, eventually pushing reserve stock out of zone. This is especially important for bulk items that are bought in very large quantities and have a longer shelf life. Moving on to equipment. Location sizes do not match pallet heights, wasting slot cube. When you're dealing with thousands or tens of thousands of items, you're not always going to have the perfect slot type for an item. However, when an operation fundamentally prefers large slot types as to minimize replenishments and pallet letdowns, the trade-offs outside of increasing selection travel is reduced capacity utilization. Number two, not enough high density storage units. For slow moving items, high density is critical. Again, not just for minimizing selection travel, but also when it comes to freeing up space by keeping these items in as little of a footprint as possible. This is especially critical in operations where capacity is at a premium. Number three, low utilization of a building's clear stacking height. This one really has to do with the height of your beams and how well your operation is utilizing your vertical space. Of course, there are equipment implications, but proper utilization of vertical space is one of the easiest ways to increase pallet position capacity. Ensure your beams and racking are set up to take advantage of every inch of available clear stacking height. On to process. Layout design does not maximize storage capacity. As most distribution operations are dynamic in nature, this one can really surface at any time. However, when there's no process in place to phase an operation from activation all the way to design year, operations can reach capacity a lot quicker than expected and often do. At that point, either an expansion is done prematurely or a layout transformation project is planned. Both can be pretty disruptive and costly, and neither fix the underlying problem. No process to discontinue old and outdated stock. Depending on the industry, there are different challenges and requirements when it comes to moving out discontinued or non-active stock. It is important, however, that even if a non-active or discontinued item cannot be completely removed from the building for whatever reason, that it's relocated to a slower moving area as to free up more prime storage space for items that are more active. Cumbersome process for reporting weeks of supply to key stakeholders. Going back to potential disconnects between operations and procurement teams, if the procurement team is to buy favorably for the operation, wherever possible, there must be a level of transparency when it comes to carrying costs, or at the very least, existing inventory. Oftentimes, this information can be lost in the shuffle or not reported in a timely manner, causing inventory to be bought in needlessly. Looking at environment, too many slow-moving SKUs. This one is sometimes unavoidable. Slow-moving items are a necessary evil for a lot of operations. The trick is how these items are managed. Automated pick modules are often used to condense slow-moving items into a small footprint, but even more manual multi-level pick environments have shown to be effective in increasing capacity utilization. In fact, a recent productivity benchmarking study that we conducted revealed that while very narrow aisle configurations typically provide 21% less productivity, the average operator using it is able to ship 57% more volume in 2/3 of the space. Facility lifetime reached due to growth. There comes a time in the lifetime of most distribution operations where the requirements of the operation have outgrown the available space, existing layout, and/or material handling systems. Problems arise, however, when facility lifetime is reached earlier than expected or abruptly without notice. Through more creative layout configurations or material handling systems, usually lifetime can be added, but if warning signs such as physical capacity constraints, reduced labor efficiency, aisle and dock congestion, or increased product damage persist, it's clear the indication the facility might be at the end of its lifetime. Next up is management. Insufficient focus on cube utilization due to over-reliance on pallet positions. We're advocates of measuring capacity in multiple ways: pallet positions, pick fronts, racks, and probably most importantly when it comes to assessing overall space utilization and facility lifetime, cube capacity, which of course takes into account vertical space. When you're dealing with a case or each pick environment where pallet sizes and storage requirements differ by item, cube capacity is a critical metric. Lack of ongoing capacity planning. As discussed under the previous category, lifetime planning is something that can go into every new site activation. However, at this point, it's merely an educated guess based on growth projections, 3, 5, and sometimes 7 years into the future. If proper capacity planning is not a consistent activity within the operation, you likely won't know what your capacity constraints are costing you in terms of productivity, damage, zone compliance, safety, until you reach a point where it's abundantly obvious, after months or even years of unnecessary waste. Last, but certainly not least, tools. Lack of capacity planning and modeling tools. Just as it's important to have a process in place to ensure this work is done at the executive level of the business, having the right tools to do it properly is also critical. No system to recommend optimal rack profiles considering pallet heights. Whether or not your operation reconfigures pallets prior to them being put away, having a system in place to evaluate incoming pallets for the purpose of matching them with the best available pick slot based on height can significantly increase capacity utilization, not to mention greatly influence productivity. In the absence of a system or a tool to assist in this process, it's hard to conduct a proper evaluation, especially in high volume environments. No detection system for suboptimal locations. Just as important to slot new items properly as soon as they arrive on the dock, it's critical to have a detection system in place to reslot items as storage requirements change throughout the year, especially if capacity constraints are already present. And there you have it, a root cause analysis for a lack of storage capacity in the warehouse. To find out how a fulfillment optimization system can help you increase labor efficiency and more effectively utilize your capacity, potentially adding months or even years to the lifetime of your operation, be sure to check out www.synccontext.com. I've included a link in the description below. If you can think of any more potential root causes for a lack of storage capacity, be sure to leave your comment below. Also, if this helped you uncover potential root causes in your own operation, please let us know in the comments. We love hearing your success stories. Until next time, my name is Robbie Cluett, Director of Business Development and Customer Success for SyncContext Supply Chain.